Hi and welcome to Angling for You. Today down at the fantastic Oaks Lakes complex on Alders Pond, and today we're fishing shallow wide. Lovely start. As any shallow fishing goes, make sure you keep feeding. Today we're fishing with maggots, single maggot in actual fact, and that is lovely little eye to start with. Beautiful condition as always. Just getting back. That single maggot's still attached. What we'll do is we'll keep going and then we'll do a close-up of the rig and a little bit about how we hook the bait on, because it is a little bit different to normal. So we're feeding quite heavily with maggots. They're very greedy fish, are eyed, and you do need to keep that bait like F1s, keep them competitive and competing for that food. Another fish. Keeping that tight line, that fish, like the other one, just hooked himself again. Beautiful little fish. Let's just unhook it from the net. It's always good, just keep that feed going in. There's probably around a dozen maggots at a time. When it's fishing summer, that's not a lot. When you've got a venue like this where there's a lot of fish present. Another fish. A little bit better stamp, this one. Beautifully hooked in that top lip. Like bream, they're not the easiest fish to keep hold of. Hide. Tiny 18s hook. Get them in a little bit better size. What we'll do is we'll jump on now and have a look at the rig, and then we'll explain the other rig that I've got set up and why I've got that set up to use in conjunction with this. Right guys, so let's go through the rig. So the first one we've got is the shallow rig, and we've got the MAP 8 elastic in there. Obviously that one's sort of really good for small fish, and especially these eyed. The line is GenPro 015, and the reason I've gone 015 even though they're smaller fish is it keeps the line stiff and I don't want it too thick. We've got the shallow float with a carbon stem, the ProGen 0.1 of a gram. It's just a great little shallow float. We've got two rubbers there, one at the top and one just overhanging there perfectly to allow us to not get any tangles. Two number 10 slots, and like I said before, the line will just drop naturally from there onwards. So those shots are there to cock the float, and then it'll drop naturally, and that's down to a size 18 hair riggers hook. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, get one of these white maggots, and this is what I mean. So a standard hooking, and you will catch on that, that's a standard hooking for any sort of fishing maggots. Now when you drop a maggot through the water, they actually fall sideways, so if you just hook the skin of the maggot like that, that is how they will fall in the water. I'll throw a few in the water in front of me, in fact, but I don't know if we'll able to get it, but we'll have a look. So if you get to see, they fall sideways, and that's why we hook it through the side. It's much more natural presentation. Let's just move this one out of the way. Right guys, so the next one is a map one, as you've a lot of people will have seen before. A nice map 12, you know, fairly light, and again 015 line for the stiffness, and again the same float, this Progen shallow float, and we are searching the water with this rig. So at the moment it's set up for around 2 foot, and we've got a number 10 dropper just underneath it, and then we've got another number 10 up the line as well, and that just drops it down and makes it sort of come down nicely. And then we're down to a small 18s hair rig hook again, and we're hooking the maggots on exactly the same way as we were doing on the other one, and you know, we're doing really well. So let's get back to the main camera and see if we can get some more fish. Guys, so I've put my other rig on, and with shallow fishing, with hide, especially if they start to go off, it could be that they're following more bait down to the bottom. So this rig that I have is set for the depth of the swim, but it's a strung out bulk, so then it drops nice and steady, and you can search the water with it, and that's why I call it my searching rig. It might be that we pick these fish up on the deck, or it might be that we pick them up in the water. But I'm still going to feed the exact same way, and if I still don't get any bites, then that's fine. It's not a problem. It just means that I can play about and I can check the different depths that I'm fishing at. Sometimes when you fish this method, you do find that the bigger hides sometimes sit underneath the feed. Not always the case. It just allows me to switch from each rig. If I don't get anything on this rig, then I'll go straight back to the shallow rig and continue to fish on there. You've got to be prepared to move around with most fish, to be fair, but F1s and hide more so, that they do like different depths of water. Just going to give this a couple more drops, and then if not, I'm going to go back to that shallow rig. You see that took it there on the drop, so to me that tells me straight away that I need to be back on that shallow line. I'm going to leave it one more chance to drop. but I saw the register on the float that there was no float registration. It was just straight away a bite that pulled the tip of the pole down, which means that it's sort of hitting it mid-water. The float was still high and it wasn't registering on that lower shot. So we're just gonna put this one back on the rest and give the next one a go on a shallow one. And it's usually the case, but you know, we start to pick up those littler ones, so it did make me think that they'd drop down lower, and it may be that we come back to that rig. But for now we're going to try this shallow rig again, and we're just under, sort of, I'd say just under, or maybe a third of the total depth with this rig. Keep that nice tight line on, so then if we do get any quick bites, they will self-hook themselves. And that one I did actually strike at that, but it would have taken the elastic before. And again, we're getting back onto what we've come for. Let's see his nice side. This one's a good size and hooked perfectly. That top lip, that's a beautiful fish, is that? That's what we need to catch. But they do, believe it or not, they go up to a much bigger size than that in here. We'll get that single white maggot back on, and that's why I like this little 18s air rigger hook. It's really sharp and allows you to hook those maggots through the side, which you need a sharp hook for. This time of year you are gonna get small silvers in there, roach and stuff like that, rudd. But what you got to try and do is keep that feed going in, and hopefully the hide will bully them out. That's another one. And you can see that they've come back to that up in the water. And I do love fishing for hide, shallow. And this is a lovely fish, is this one. See if we get him unhooked first, and then if he'll play ball, if they play ball, and then we'll try and hold him up. But he's keen on not being unhooked or held up, I reckon. That's a beautiful fish. A bit of damage from spawning, but nothing major. Get him back in. I do really enjoy hide fishing, and the bait's on there still fine. And a lot of time you'll find the bait is fine because they hit it that hard. It's not like a normal bite where they're swallowing it, but you know, on the deck they're hitting it quick, and it's just stuck in that little tiny air rigger's hook is just stuck in them, just in lip. And you'll find that a lot of the time you could get 2 or 3 fish on that maggot. I mean, if it's pulverised, then obviously you want a new maggot on. Some people put a new maggot on every time, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's in good condition, it's a little bit more robust than a caster. And now we're back to small fish. I'm going to now have a drop on that that long line again. It is just a bit of fry, that one. I'll put that back. And we'll just put this rig back, and now we're just going to keep, like I said before, keep feeding it as always. But we're just going to put that searching rig back on. No, and don't be afraid of changing rigs. And as long as you're feeding, if they are still shallow, then they'll be still there, ready for you to catch. Just don't dwell on one rig for long periods of time. It's same with F1s and with I. They do move about columns, and you have to keep yourself moving. Don't just sit at one depth. Just inches can make a difference when you're fishing for them. Like I said, remain exactly the same place, same feeding pattern. It's a lovely stamp roach, and that one's just sat in that below column of water. And sometimes that's when you have to go to pick up those extra fish. Like I said before, I'm just going to continue to fish that shallow, feed that shallow, and then just let this search the depths, see if we get any indications on the way down. Quality roach. It's an eyed actually this time. So they are sat a bit lower in the water there. Not quite the big ones, but yeah, certainly some sat in the lower, and we're away from the little ones. We'll give it another couple of minutes on this line, and then see if we can go shallow again and see if there's any up in the water. Right, let's shift back to that shallow rig. And we'll try a single red on that one, I think, and just change it up a little bit. So, put the little shallow kit back out again. Just gonna try that little single red this time. It's just for a change. A little bit better one. Back on the shallow line, and we've gone sort of about 10 inches on this one. Bit better stamp. Happy catching them all day. Beautiful fish. A little bit better stamp. Got 2 maggots just into work the trick there. A little bit better stamp one to finish with. If he stays still, we'll grab on it. Game or not. Looks like he's going to need to discard it. There we go. Just put that down there. So, a bit better stamp one. Look at the little fish. Getting back. So, a little bit different pace to what we normally do. We don't always sort of fishing a lot of commercials and stuff lately and things like that, but it's a really nice thing to do live fishing, really sort of relaxing, and it's a working method, and it just, I find there's a lot of sort of accomplishment when you chase them up and down the water and you're finding them and sort of trying to sniff out the bigger ones, and it's just a nice change to doing the everyday. So obviously I've showed you the rigs and the ways that I go about it, so it's time to get out, give it a try. Any silver sort of venue where they're there, you'll usually do well with them, and we've done really well with them today. So hope this video has been helpful to you, and if you could join us on the Facebook group and like and subscribe on the YouTube, and join us on the Facebook group at 7 o'clock for live feeds on Fridays, and then over on the Instagram angling_few 8 o'clock for the live feeds on there. We're getting a lot of great feedback and really enjoying doing the live feeds with you guys, and thank you for watching this one, and check out, we've got plenty of videos going on there at the moment, and lots of different content from lots of different places. So thanks very much for watching as always. Until the next one, ta-bye.